Here. I did not plan for it to go live that fast, but we are live now. Jump in here, Alex.
Yeah.
Guys, big update for you. We just got done in the House chamber for the gun control session, day one. And man, it was kind of a shit show. I mean,
Totally.
So you pardon my French, but kind of a crap show in there. Like we've been saying consistently throughout this entire process, the big tragedy, the big travesty that has been foisted upon the gun vote in Tennessee is that Bill Lee, that traitorous, treacherous bastard, has given life to the radical left's push for gun control, and we saw it here today. Tell them about the way these people acted all day today.
Honestly, it was disappointing. I mean,
I knew you were going to say that. Dadgum.
I have seen more sophisticated commie mommies than whatever they could drag up here today. Guys, we did see the buses. We have the pictures. Bloomberg bussed in opposition for today's meeting, and they couldn't even articulate words. All they could do was screech, shout, snap their fingers, and bellow and whine like little toddlers.
Petulant toddlers. That had never been told no by their parents. That's what we saw today. But folks, we're not here to tell you that this threat is not real.
Sorry, correct.
Because there was hundreds of them when the doors to the House chamber, that's where we got ushered into, was the House side. When the doors to the House chamber were closed, the people who couldn't make it in were outside the doors pounding and screaming and shouting. And sadly, I hate to say it, but sometimes that kind of childish, petulant activity moves the dial. A lot of these people are like, let's just give them something, that way they'll go away and leave us alone, not knowing that if you give a petulant toddler what they are screaming for, they will only be encouraged in their screaming. We saw this, we've seen this in gun rights time and time again over the last couple of years on the bump stocks. We gave them an inch, they're trying to take a mile. We're watching it right now in the bipartisan Safer Communities Act of last year. Republicans in Congress gave them almost $1 billion to allocate to the states. The state of Tennessee has already accepted over $7 million of that.
Yep.
So we cannot negotiate with these people. And that brings us to my favorite moment of the day, which was Representative Brian
Ritchie.
Oh
my goodness.
Oh my gosh. This guy, he stood up and he did exactly what a conservative person who loves America, who has better use of his time, he stood up and did what a fighter would do.
He did what the House Majority Leader should have done.
Yes.
He did what leadership should have done. Yeah, you have the power to call us back, Bill. We're here. We're in, we're out. Within 30 minutes, everyone go back home, beat traffic.
He moved to suspend the rules so that they could go to an immediate motion to adjourn, sine die, which means we're in, we're out, we're done, special session's over, go back to your lives, and we'll meet you all back here again in January. So, big congratulations to him, big kudos.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's not, that kind of a fighting mentality is what is desperately needed to make sure that the current mentality of people like Randy McNally and Speaker Sexton and the governor, which is a knee-jerk reaction, let's do some gun control after a shooting, it's going to take leadership like that, and we saw it from him. How many people were in that? Like 6, I think?
There were only 6
I think it's
votes.
6. Don't quote us on that.
5 or 6 to quote. And we saw the floor leader telling all the Republicans, vote no.
That picture.
Vote no.
That picture.
No, we want to stay here. We want to work on gun control of some form or fashion, and they're going to.
There's some patriots right over there. That's the other highlight of today, folks.
The best part of the day.
We have run into a remarkable number of people who are God-fearing, freedom-loving, patriotic Tennesseans who don't apologize for living Christians. Some of them. It was fantastic. That's always the best part of our job. We get to meet some of the best people. But one of the fake news reporters was just asking us a few minutes ago. They're like, the pro-gun side was outnumbered here, probably 5-1. What do you think that means? I'm like, well, it's easy. It's a Monday in Tennessee. Gun owners are working.
Exactly.
Gun owners have to make a living. These radical lefty, red shirt radical lion commie mommy brigade, they're bust in here. They get big fat checks. They're usually retired from their government funded jobs. They got their government funded pensions. They've got 1.5 kids. And so I'm like, yeah, our guys are working today to make sure that this place has the money it needs to run, which is another total tragedy and travesty. So we met some great people. But the key to winning this fight, well, listen to this. The key to winning this fight is by hammering on your state representatives and your state senators and urging and absolutely being very clear to them, don't you dare vote yes on any of this stuff. Vote no across the board. And the easiest way for you guys to do that, I think we have a link in the comments section already, but if you don't see it there, remember this website. StopRedFlags.com. StopRedFlags.com. You guys can go there, and that goes right to our mobilization tool that makes it so that all you have to do is punch in your address, and you guys can send an email to your state representative and your state senator. You don't even need to know who they are.
Yep.
Our system will do it for you. We've got an email that's pre-written for you. You guys can edit it so that you can make it your own, do whatever you want to do. But we need to keep the pressure on the General Assembly and these legislators. I think the biggest risk that we face right now is a passage of a mental health reform that would expand the pink slip law, the involuntary committal process for here in Tennessee. Every state has an involuntary committal process. But now the danger here is that Republicans take this up because there's federal monies attached to it and start advancing that ball. Nothing is what they should pass. Not a single bill, not one jot, not one tittle should they pass this stuff or should be the order of the day. Because if you do, you're just negotiating with terrorists. And we saw them today. Just screaming at the top of their voice. We want, what do we want? Then they would shout gun control. Then the highly paid professional organizer would say, when do we want it? And then they would reply, we want it now. But we saw t-shirts today that said something like, we want political power and we want it now. These people, the social compact is broken. They don't want to peacefully coexist with anybody. They want to be able to trample out your freedoms, and they want to be able to do it at will. So folks, back to square one, StopRedFlags.com. And that's how we stop these people.
Not only, if you've sent your email already, guess what? You can send it again. You can send it as many times as you want. Don't stop at one.
Yes,
send it every hour.
Brothers and
send it every 2 hours. Change the subject line. Send it again.
You
so
bet.
That assistant has to open it and log another email from a voter in their district saying, if you vote for any form of gun control whatsoever, we will remember this, especially in your primary election, but for every election you have going forward. So please, send it 5 times, send it 10 times. Don't stop sending
at least
them.
every day. It would be entirely appropriate, especially when they're up here 2 or 3 times a day is not inappropriate. The other thing you guys can do, and I don't think we have activated this yet on our platform, but we're going to activate it here shortly, is we'll put the direct phone numbers for your state reps on there. Again, this is all, you can find all of this at StopRedFlags.com, and we'll make it so you guys can call them as well. Because they need to be hearing from you. They're hearing from these left-wing red shirt radical lion commie mommies that we affectionately call them. But they need to be hearing from you guys, or disaffectionately. I don't know. One thing we were trying to urge some of these people today was some of the better Republicans were standing on the floor talking about our heritage of freedom in this country, and they were they were going back and they were talking about people like Thomas Jefferson. All of a sudden there's a boo hiss in the crowd, and they're like spitting little spittle and stuff like that. But one thing I noticed is like this guy's using big words, like freedom and stuff like that. And I said to Alex here, I'm like, man, I hope some of these people are writing down in their notebooks some of these words, because they clearly don't know what they mean. Hopefully they go home, get on dictionary.com, and look some of these words up. That way they will have learned something here today. But for those of you who've never been to something like this, it's kind of a disturbing sight. You have people here that are professional organizers and mobilizers for the radical left. They're going around, they're doing their job, they're cutting social media videos, they've got video staff right there ready to go. They're putting out content, they're doing little interviews with legislators, they're putting that stuff out immediately. They're going around with signs, they're going around with petitions, they're organizing like, okay, click your fingers now during the thing. It's all very organized. These people, again, don't forget, these people are funded by the radical left. George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, Alex Soros, these big money left-wing radicals, and we saw that in spades today. And they're good at it. They're good at it, and they're not going to stop. I think one of the most disturbing things about this entire process is that they've made it very clear now that they're not going to stop at the end of this special session. That they're just launching this movement to pass red flags. And honestly, we keep hearing from some of these moderate rhino Republicans that, well, let's just have the discussion. Their big concern is that, well, we don't want to be here for a special session. Yeah. Like, no, it's never a good time to discuss gun control or destroying our freedoms. We have founding fathers and forefathers that fought very hard to secure these freedoms at the ultimate price that was paid. Let's not give them away. But instead, some of the conversations we hear are, well, let's just have a conversation. No, this conversation is not worth talking about. Let's talk about cutting some freaking taxes, you know, or improving some of the potholes around the Capitol
How about
building
some
here.
free parking for the people that come to the people's house?
Oh my God!
But you're talking about them organizing, not going away. What we're hearing is now Bloomberg and Soros are seeing a chink in Red America's armor here in Nashville, here in Tennessee. So they are pooling their money from the other red states that they don't have as strong a foothold in, and they're pouring it now deep into red Tennessee. We're hearing of rural districts having $100,000 ad buys from Bloomberg to pass red flag laws. They're not going away, and so we have got to stand up and get bigger and fight back.
Yeah. We can start to wrap this down. There's just a few more things I wanted to quickly talk about. We just got done doing interviews with like the New York Times and the Tennessean and some of those things. And one of the questions we keep getting asked is, and so just so you guys know, I don't live in the state of Tennessee yet. Who knows, it might change. But they're like, well, why are you so concerned about this issue here for Tennessee? You know, what's the big deal? I said, well, make no mistake about it. We are here to make sure that this stuff doesn't pass in Tennessee, because if it passes here, it will be the green light to all these Republican states all across the country to passing red flag laws.
Exactly.
And we can't let that happen. She's like, oh, really? And she's kind of like asking, how the heck do you know that? And I'm like, well, I also work for Ohio gun owners, and our organization boot stomped Republican Governor DeWine and Republican Governor John Kasich's attempts to pass red flag gun confiscation as well, because they told us that they wanted to do it so that other Republican-controlled states can do it too. That's what John Kasich said, and we believe him. We believe it when Bill Lee is trying to do it, and we know these red shirt radical lying commie mommies that are being funded by Bloomberg, we know that they know it too.
Yep.
Heck, all you gotta do is read any one of these articles, and it says it right in there. They're wanting to pass this. By the way, there's news choppers flying overhead. They're wanting to pass this stuff so they can get it passed all over the place. So be like Ronnie Carroll just said, no red flag. Absolutely, my brother. Make sure you go to stopredflags.com and send that email out to your state reps and your state senators against this bullcrap. So they're back tomorrow. Sadly, that motion to adjourn signing die failed, thanks to Republicans.
Yep.
And they will be back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow as well. But honestly, folks, the best lobbying is not done here.
Never.
In the state capitol building. It's not done best in the Cordell Hull building on the other side of the Capitol, where their legislative offices are. It's done by we the people back home in their districts, sending those emails and making those phone calls. Because back in the day, long time ago in another life, I used to be an aide in the Iowa Senate. I grew up, born and raised in Iowa. And I know for a certainty that when a legislator gets an email from a constituent in his district, that means 10,000 times more to a state legislator than all the other form letter bullcrap that we always got in the email. And that was 13 years ago. It's only become more so. These people only care about what their districts are telling them. And that's why a lot of this noise that we heard here today, we saw here today, it's loud, it's obnoxious. They're a bunch of kids that never got whooped by their parents. But the voices they hear from their legislative aides when they walk into their offices in the morning and say, hey, what's going on? What's the email box is saying? Oh, so-and-so from Baxter. Let's take that district for an example. So-and-so from Baxter emailed, says he wants you to vote no on all this stuff. Don't vote on any gun control bills. Okay. So-and-so from Cookville said that blah, 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 blah. They pay attention to that stuff. That's where we win this fight. So folks, go to stopredflags.com to send your emails. Again, that link is universal. You can use it a bunch of times. You can send it to your friends. If your wife is sitting next to you tonight or your husband is sitting next to you tonight and she has an email address too, she can send one. If your kids, I don't care if your kids are below the voting age, they are still represented by your state representative.
Exactly.
And if you're raising them to love the Lord and love our Constitution and love freedom and hate tyranny, they can email them too. They can email them too. I can guarantee their teachers, if they're in the government indoctrination centers, they're probably telling them to do the opposite. So share these links with all of your friends, not your commie friends, just your pro-gun friends. And this is how we force multiply on this stuff. So folks, let's win this fight. It starts back up again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We'll be here giving you guys an update again. I don't know how, we'll be here for the next couple days. I don't know how long this session is going to go on. Every day that it goes on, we could add it up. It's probably several $100,000 worth of salary, miles, meals, expenses, reimbursements, hotels, all this different stuff. Total waste of the taxpayer dollars. We don't know how long it's going to go on, but I can tell you this fight isn't won here in Nashville by people going door to door in the office building. It's won by people like you back home in their districts. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for all that you guys are doing. It's not us that are so winsome in our personalities up here that win this fight. It is you guys' constant work to advocate for your own freedom. So last but not least, I will ask you guys this. Tennessee gun owners as an organization may be new on paper, but the tactics that we employ and the platforms that we use in order to mobilize gun voters, we are very good at it. I think I just said this a minute ago. I'll say it again. The fact that so many Republicans were willing to consider gun control means there's a problem within the Republican caucus. That problem needs to be changed. And Tennessee Gun Owners specializes in making sure that bad Republicans have to answer to angry gun voters, especially during Republican primaries. That's the best time. It's my favorite. We call it political hunting season for the humor impaired.
Yep.
It's the best time, and it's how we long-term protect the state of Tennessee from this communist takeover by these red shirt radical lying commie mommies. So that's all I've got for right now. That's all, and we'll be back with more tomorrow. God bless you guys. We love you. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for joining us in this fight, and we'll be back with more tomorrow.